Hey everybody, it's your girl PJamma with PJamma Life. And today we have three great shows. We have Loki, we have The Bad Batch, and we have Tomorrow's War by on Amazon Prime with Chris Pratt. But we thought we would both throw in something special. We're going to talk about The Bachelorette. So, since David and I are fans, and unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but our buddy, all things Marvel, our professor, Pat, he is actually away this week, but we wish him and his wife all the best. So, we will carry on regretfully without him. But here we go. So, why don't we start with The Bad Batch? Let's show a clip. You're being hired to locate and free Senator Avi Singh.
Help a separatist? Not gonna happen. I can't believe we're helping a separatist senator.
My master, Senator Singh, was arrested for
We
speaking
don't
out against...
care. Just take us to where the senator's being held. Time to make yourself useful.
You do not possess a military skill set for a tactical advantage.
We're counting on it.
Oh! Oh dear!
Stop! Stop!
It's a strategy game. I'm good at strategy.
How good? Oh, what? I just forgot. I got so excited. I forgot to introduce my partner in crime. And I think today we have a special guest. I think we have Uncle Sam here to join us.
Well, it's Uncle David, Pam, but hello, everybody. Wave your red, white, and blues. I'm coming to you live, as any good Star Wars Marvel geek would, from the basement of his mother. Yes,
Yep.
I'm talking to you live here. We might even get a chance to see one of my custom pieces, the Star Wars Cantina that my stepdad and I built back in not too long ago, just 2002. But great to be with you guys. Wonderful shows to talk about, including that show where we look to see if I get a rose, The Bachelorette.
Aw, you'll always get a rose from me, David.
That's why I love you. You really are the best. And your red, white, and blue Alliance shirt, I'm loving it.
Ta-da! That's about as patriotic as I can get. But let's talk about this week's Bad Batch. As you are the guru of all things Star Wars, what kind of things that stood out for you this week?
Well, what I loved here was we had gotten a sense throughout the show so far that Omega was special. And we, I think Pat and I, the three of us were talking, does she maybe have force powers? No. She's obviously like a pure clone of Django's, the female version, but she's got enhanced mental capabilities. She is a strategic genius, just like you've got Crosshair, who's the marksman, and you've got the tech guy, and Hunter's been a leader. You've got a marquee strategist here in Omega, and it was shown in a way that don't most superheroes kind of start off doing something self-serving. She's winning at some games. She's winning at the hollow chest there. So I thought that was fun to see. Love to see also as we kind of get into this, the expansion of the Empire and what it means and how you've got, and the Bad Batch kind of taking us through this. It was the Separatists versus the Republic. Those banners, those flags and support, that's gone. And it's Empire and whoever is willing to stand against the Empire. And the Bad Batch coming to realize that. Wonderful. We got a little bit more Rhea Perlman here, and that can never go wrong. She's given us a Trandoshan with a sly side that's been really fun. So just another great knock it out of the park episode in my mind.
Yeah, and I thought it was a little bit of a filler episode. Besides the reveal of Omega's strategic abilities.
Strategery, I like that. Let's come up with new words tonight.
Strategery. I think that's from Will. What's his name for Saturday Night Live? But I think that the band, the Bad Batch, they are coming to understand that they are mercenaries and that they have to take jobs for money, and that may mean doing things that they previously would have never thought they did. So,
right.
You know, their ethics have to be a little shifting in this environment, and they won't have the purity of purpose, I think, going forward. Maybe that was something that, you know, is coming to light for the characters too. So I hope to see more of the character. Sid, that's her name, the Rhea Perlman character.
Yeah.
Is more, you know, you always have that grumpy auntie who's always on you. Wendy Williams. But they show her actually, I think, feeling some remorse for how she was treating Omega, and was able to actually help Omega to discover how she could help the team without putting herself in danger. Because I'm not a fan of seeing a child go on battle missions with a team. So if there's a way that she can help them, you know, remotely, I'm all for it. So It was a great episode. I'm still trying to figure out how it ties in. Everything ties in, I'm sure. But there's probably about 6 or so more episodes left, I think.
I'm not sure. That's exciting. At least to have 6.
It's like mid, I think the second week of August, I think it'll be finished. So we have a few more episodes, so we'll be rocketing towards the conclusion here before you know it. So, and speaking of episodes that are about to be over, Loki is close to the end. We're more than halfway through. We're at the 4th episode, and you know what happens on the 4th episode in these Marvel shows? Big reveals. And so, why don't we show a clip of Loki?
We may lose. Sometimes painfully. But we don't die. We survive.
Okay, let him one last desperate trick from the desperate trickster. Go ahead.
The TVA is lying to you.
I showed you your life before the TVA. The timekeepers took your lives from you. From all of you.
You like her.
What?
You like her. Does she like you?
Was she pruned?
I mean, no wonder you have no clue what caused the Nexus event on Lamentus. Both of you are just swooning over each other, I guess.
Tell me the truth.
Apocalypse. 2 variants of the same being, especially you, forming this kind of sick, twisted romantic relationship. That's pure chaos. That could break reality. It's breaking my reality right now.
Being craven, pathetic worm.
Okay, good.
Pathetic.
But much more was revealed in this episode. And since it's Saturday, I don't feel bad about spoilers because you should have watched it by now.
Yeah.
But what'd you think of this episode, David? Oh.
Am I back?
Yeah, I think, there we
I
go.
am.
Okay.
All right. This show continues to get better and better. I was blown away with this episode on many levels. The reveals, but also the speed of this show. This episode, in some ways, I would have thought that it would have taken a little bit more time to kind of get to where people were believing that the TVA was lying to them. It seemed to kind of quick in that. But wow, I mean, look where we went. Owen Wilson, probably gone. The Loki that we know, kind of gone, right? I mean, what's happened to him? The robots, the Time Lords, our super guys here running the Tennessee Valley Authority, they're robots. But I even did a little bit of homework knowing Patrick wasn't going to be here. Those images look tremendously alike. They really kind of based on what those guys looked like in the comics. So that was fantastic. I saw some Twitter conversation that reminded them a little bit of Bill and Ted as well. Some of their juries. But again, those comics, I think Bill and Ted kind of stole from those comics. But I thought this was just fantastic. And what a way to end the episode. It's like, no, I'm not going to kill you. You're going to tell me everything, says our blonde Loki variant. But man, Owen Wilson gone, and Loki. What about Loki? I mean, is he really gone? Are we going to bring something with the time travel? I mean, that was gut-wrenching to see him go just as he was about to say something like, I love you, to his feminine self. I loved Owen Wilson's comment. It's like, only you could fall in love with you. And I thought that is so true.
That's the story of Narcissus.
Really.
That he looks into the lake and sees himself and falls in love with himself.
And who could blame him, really?
So, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And David, let me ask you this. If there was a feminine version of yourself, would you fall in love with it?
Oh, man, let's see. Well, we couldn't get a word in edgewise. I mean, that's the truth. She'd be dashingly handsome. And I got to tell you, man, and there would be at least, there would be true love, because at the end of the season, if Kentucky doesn't cut down the nets, there'd be someone who totally gets me, consoling me through the pain of those last second losses. So, yeah, I think so. Well, what about you? What about we know the producer, not to get, we know the producer's the love of your life, a true, one of those great American love stories. I mean, high school sweethearts, and here you are today. But what about the masculine version of PJamma life?
You know what? I had a friend who was kind of like the male version of me. I'm killing each other. I would drive myself crazy, so just like I drove him crazy. So I don't think it would work out.
But tell me, what did you think about the episode? What did you think about the episode, though?
I thought it was, I thought it was great, because you got some questions answered. About the TVA is not what it seems.
Nope.
And clearly there is something going on, which they were kind of alluding to last week. But you also got to see the new character who you haven't seen since in a number of movies. Sif is back. She's gonna, I think, carry on in this point. The actress, had starred in her own series on NBC, the fantastic Blind Spot show. And she did that for a number of years. So she had stepped away from Marvel, but now she's back. And so that is fantastic. And actually, that scene was straight out of the mythology of the character, that Loki played a trick, as he always did, on Sif, and cut her hair and changed it black. And she was a blonde, and she never got her color back. And he kind of, messed up her image. and she, despised him from that. So that's straight out of mythology, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
And the episode also gave me, you said Bill and Ted, but there were also elements to me of the Wizard of Oz, right? You have characters traveling on a journey, trying to find out what happened. You have a kind of evil witch, wicked witch. You have, a Dorothy, trying to find his way.
Right.
And then you have the wizard, and how the wizard is revealed not to be who the wizard was supposed to be. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought the characters, I was like, is that drummer or that character from the Muppets that had the band, Electric Mayhem up there? I was like, what's Electric Mayhem doing up there? What's up with this?
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, nope, that's something's not right about that. And I did love that Loki really did consider Owen Wilson's character a friend, Mobius, as a friend, I think. Yeah. And I think sometimes friends have to tell friends hard truths. And so then Mobius was willing to sacrifice himself for the cause. And so then you got to see, which I suspected, Ravonna Renslayer is not maybe a good character. She must be in on it. And in the comics, she is a girlfriend of what's that new character's name? I forget his name. It'll come back to me. But she's the girlfriend of the new bad guy that's gonna Kang. She's his girlfriend in the comics. So it might be revealed that there's a relationship. And somebody I was looking at online saw that there was a character kind of hiding kind of behind the scenes. So it might have been Kang the Conqueror. So we'll see. But I think that this episode, and if you haven't watched it, you have to stick through the credits because there's another big reveal in the credits, and it's pretty much of a shocker. You think I ought to say what it is, David? Or should I leave it to you?
At this point, tell it all.
Okay, so when it comes back up, Loki's on the ground and he's asking, is this Hel, Hel, which is the Norse land of the afterlife? Which, if you watch the movies, Loki's sister is named Hela because she's the goddess of death. So he's kind of asking, is this Hel? And then somebody says, no, but he asked, am I dead? And they were like, no, but you will be if you don't get up and come with us. And he turns and looks, and there's 3 people and an animal, which are all revealed to be Lokis of different times. So you have the fantastic Richard E. Grant, who, if you all haven't watched one of his first movies, which was Warlock, that's where I know him from. But he was also in The Mandalorian. Was he in The Mandalorian? He was General Pride, I think, or Admiral Pride, right?
That was it. That was in the Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, Rise of Skywalker. Yes. So he's got a connection to both of the big shows in Marvel, and
he was in the Spice Girl movie from 1999.
Oh my God, that's right. He's been in so much. Yeah. He's fantastic, and he was in the comic book version of Loki. That you see the traditional green and yellow costume with the huge horns on the head. So very early cartoon. And then you see a black man with a hammer, Mjolnir. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Thor's hammer in one of the comics Loki was given the hammer in the What If series. And so that then is another series. If you've read what's coming out on Disney, that's another series that Marvel is going to have, is the What If series. And that was one of the stories. And then the child Loki was a young Loki, which was a comic, where Loki went back and in time, then he put his essence into a young version and then became a good guy for a while. And so young Loki then also joined Young Avengers. So here we've had in 3 different series characters from Young Avengers. So I think Marvel is really doing a job in planning the rollout of the Young Avengers series.
Yeah. And they really seem, because obviously with the comics, there's, there have been some reiterations of stories and and the alternate stories and things, but they seem to have really held true to the mythos of it.
Yeah.
And really want to bring that. They want to do justice. I mean, they put their own spin on it, but if you're a fan of those stories and know those books over the years, you come away really pleased. That's the thing. Disney has, I think, at least since Iron Man 2, if not Iron Man 1, they really kind of knocked it out of the park in building this world and really getting into depth and trying to build on that. Whereas with Star Wars, there was an expanded universe that they could build on, and they really, for many legitimate reasons, artistic reasons, they wanted to try new ground. And people, we can debate, and we do, the hit or miss of that. But with Marvel, Disney is really, they've taken, I think, some of the best pieces, and they've got great Easter eggs for the old fans, people who know this so well, or someone like me, quite honestly, who's coming to this at a relatively novice level, some of the intricacies. And in either case, I think that they're giving you something that really just leaves a smile on your face. And I applaud them for that.
Because what was funnier at the end than alligator Loki? And so, he jumped in different bodies, in different versions. And one of them, which was apparently a very popular comic, was Loki as an animal. And so, having that Loki as an alligator Loki was hilarious to me. And so,
Mischievous gator.
Loki gator.
Loki gator.
And so that is hilarious. So the Dwayne DeMarcos, hey Dwayne, and hey Electric Melanin, thanks for joining us. What was funny, he asked, and what was up with Sylvie's crown that's missing a horn? And I was always like, that horn is not, that lack of 2 horns is driving me nuts the whole series. So
there's been something about that though. And there's been like some images pre-Sylvie with that horn issue though.
Yeah, I didn't like it. That just bothers me in terms of symmetry.
Really? Like if somebody's beard is off to the side.
a horn in the center. Don't just have it all off to the side like that. That don't work. Yeah, like that. Oh no. Okay. So why don't we? So definitely, if you haven't watched this week's episode of Loki, go and watch it. And now that you have the Easter eggs, go and watch it again. So let's take a look at the Chris Pratt movie on Prime, Tomorrow's War.
Years in the future. We are fighting a war. Our enemy is not human, and we are losing.
This device facilitates you jump to and from the future war. Sync to your unique biosignature can only be removed when your tour of duty is complete.
You have 24 hours to get your personal affairs in order and report for basic training.
Copy that command. Listen, everybody, we're on a seesaw, all right? It's combat, search, and rescue. Our destination is this research facility. I need every able-bodied person on this rooftop to follow me. Fire!
The lives of every man, woman, and child on this planet could be saved if we could just get the answer to one question. And it's all about volcanoes.
I knew this would happen.
Oh, I would have killed for a moment like this in high school. So how's the future? Miami Dolphins still suck.
Great clip work to our producer. What did you think?
My first thought is with Chris Pratt. It's amazing how much he's buffed up, and if you remember him from Parks, a little bit in this, but I mean, you look at him at Parks and Rec, and look at him, what he's been doing in these.
Oh,
so that's a motivation right there for some of us to bulk up. It's a great cast, good concept for a film. It was better than Zombie. It was better than the Zombie Dead movie, and it was better than Mortal Kombat.
Oh, please. I actually like this one. And I know it's a shocker because y'all know I don't like time travel.
I know. We're changing lives and opinions here at PJamma Life if she likes the time travel of anything.
I know, because this week with this Tomorrow's War, I actually was like, it's time travel. Okay, but I'm going to suspend my, disdain and watch it. And for about 45 minutes of it, I was like, But then because for one, this is also a problem with time travel movies. They're too daggum long. This movie is 2 hours and 18 minutes. It didn't need to be that long. Okay. But what turned the whole movie around for me was the kids' take on that clip you saw. I don't want to give it away because it might give away too much of the movie, but it was that scene that kind of turned it around for me. Allowed it because for one, I trained as a scientist and also understand the importance, and we're both educators, so we understand the importance of education. And so it's that scene where the survival of the planet depends on science is like, yes. That's a good message. Yeah. And I think there was some really great action. I think up until the last probably 15 or 20 minutes, and it looked kind of like they rushed, and some of the graphics were terrible, and you see him fighting the monsters like hand to hand, and I'm like, are y'all for real? I mean, it just looked bad. Not just it was bad, but thematically it was dumb, but it looked bad, like something about the production wasn't right. So and at times the sound didn't seem right. It just seemed like a video game or something, the way the sound was coming in. But I thought that if they had cut the story so that, maybe they were 45 minutes from the first part and then the second part, I think it would have meshed, well together. Because, you kind of got what they were trying to do. And so you didn't need to have this long extended scenes. But I thought the creature action. Yeah. You know what it reminded me of? What they kind of combined? Hellraiser 2, the Cenobites, And that chattering was kind of like one of the monsters on that was the chatterer monster. And the claws that the monster would, the spikes that they would throw out was similar. The look of it was similar to Hellraiser 2.
Okay.
And there was another part that was similar to another kind of monster. So it was kind of like, I guess it's pretty hard to create an original monster at this point. So it was just kind of a mishmash of other monsters. But the story, it would have been cool if this came out on Father's Day or something. Father's Day weekend, because it was a story about fathers and parenting and who had even a more surprising physique change? J.K. Simmons. I mean, he came out like Buff Santa in this movie. I was like, look at, oh my goodness, look at J.K. Simmons. I mean, wasn't he, what's his name? Perry, from Spider-Man. He played the newspaper guy.
Yep.
And he's been in about every comic book movie.
He's been in my nightmares since I tried to watch Oz on HBO a lifetime ago.
Oh my gosh.
And
Wasn't
can't
he
watch that
amazing,
show
man?
and don't want to ever break the law because of that man.
Gosh. Oh, I remember what he did to that mobster's son. Oh, that was so cold.
He's a brilliant actor. I mean,
brilliant.
He is so good. And you got to love his commercials. I want to buy insurance every time I watch his commercials.
I cannot believe he still does. He's an Oscar winner and still does, American Family Insurance or whatever insurance that is. I'm like, dude, gotta pay the bills.
Man.
The Oscar don't pay the bills. So,
and he's great. He's got this one scene in the Clooney movie, Up in the Air.
Yeah.
He's great in that scene where he loses his job, and it's like, hey, go back and be a chef. That's what you wanted, right? Yeah. He played that. He nailed that role in that. So I do love to see him. I'm glad you mentioned him. He's fantastic in this and really everything you see him in.
Yeah, because that could be very much a throwaway role, but when you got somebody like him to come into it, hey, all of a sudden you've got something great. And so he kind of turned it around for me too. Yeah. So, and Sam Richardson as the head of the R&D, who's drafted or conscripted into service. And, I wasn't mad at what he did. I was like, well, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to come home. And so I was glad that because he had a role in how they were going to get to the future. So it's interesting how the pieces, and I did like that. I thought they should have maybe highlighted that more of how each character's decisions when they went to the future, when they came back, they didn't understand, but had a role in defeating the monsters of the future.
Right.
So that was kind of a cool tie. They could have made that more clearly to tie it all together, but I thought that it was more fun than I expected and had moments of real good drama and some scary moments. I was like this most of it the first time I watched it because I just don't like that stuff either. But it's definitely worth a watch. In terms of kids, little kids might be scared. And big scary kids like me might be scared. So, but definitely take a look at it. I enjoyed it. I think it's a little too long. You could just kind of do some of it, but go take a look at Tomorrow's War. David says
there won't be one today.
Yeah. It's for the future. Think about the future, people. And since that concludes that part, let's get to our special edition of The Bachelorette. David, talk about what you like about this season and past seasons and the controversy surrounding it.
Well, first off, the best Bachelorette in the history of this show, Katie, a bank manager from Seattle, Washington. Love her. She's fantastic. This show becomes more absurd all the time. I can't, if you've watched The Bachelor from years gone by to today, what you see is they bring in the craziest, most psychotic, most vain people they can. People that they can't coexist with, folks. And at this point, everybody's about their own brand. Everybody wants their own Instagram thing. They all want to be the next Bachelor. It is unreal just how catty this is. And it lowers the bar. You want to say, oh, women are this, men. No, people are this. People can really just be catty and nasty to each other. I'm though waiting, just like in the wrestling, if you ever go to a wrestling event and you think all of a sudden in between the matches, they start putting out like tables near the ring. And you know why they've got that table. So they're going to throw somebody on it. I'm waiting them to start putting tables and like spikes and flamethrowers out there. Right. And how do these dudes know each other? That was like the first thing we saw. It's like, well, I know this guy's in San Diego, man. He's not that cool. And, I don't think his motives are really that good. Well, get specific, dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So this is just pure. You will lose some brain cells.
Oh, definitely.
If you watch this show on 420, you will lose some brain cells a lot. But it is fun and diabolical to watch, and I do enjoy this. Big fan of Katie as well from the last go around. She got done wrong, I thought, in the way she was dismissed. So I'm glad she is the sweetheart of America for this season.
Now, was Katie with the guy from last season?
Yeah, for the guy from North Carolina.
Okay, yeah, and he ended up picking. That fool ended up picking the worst contestant, and I was like, "Are you serious? That dude totally. It didn't make any sense. Why, as a black man, you would pick a young woman who has been shown to have racist ideas and experiences and actively was discriminatory towards people? Why would you then marry her? I was like, you are a fool.
You know who the best was on that show? On that one? The one, now again, obviously I love Katie. I think she's a lot of fun. But I thought that the best bride of the ones we saw was the teacher. There was a teacher, I think she was from Minnesota.
On last season?
On last season with the gentleman.
Yes,
the
one
James guy.
she was like number 2 or 3. Yeah, she was of the 3.
Right.
I
love the teacher.
She was also mixed race.
Yeah, I think she was. I loved the teacher.
She was like, I was like, dude, why didn't you pick her?
That's
was
like your wife.
Great.
If you're serious about a wife, that's the lady that you would, because she seemed like a genuine friend. She seemed like an equal, somebody that, really.
And she was beautiful.
A lovely woman.
She was nice. And they had shared interests. I was like, but yet you picked the Confederate party girl. Yeah, okay, fool. You stupidest. You know what? And Rachel and her whole discussion, I was so disappointed in Chris Harrison. I couldn't believe it. And I had watched that. I watched it with Rachel on the show, and I couldn't believe what was coming out of his mouth. And I was like, no, this isn't who Chris. Well, yeah, it is who Chris is. And so, because you could tell by the way he acted that this was him, this was who he was, this is who he is. And he was just, not having it. And so, in his protection of whatever her name is, he revealed himself to be extremely insensitive and a bit of an asshole. So I felt like he should have, I think it was the right decision for him to leave, but Bachelor Nation is like,
well, he got paid on the way out. I'll say that.
He got a big
could I say something
way
that's
out.
stupid or offensive and then like get a lifetime golden parachute? That doesn't happen to me. I say stupid stuff all the time. I'm lucky to keep my job. He is like, please, he's on the, well, I won't say what plan he's on because that would incriminate us, because there's always somebody I say he's on the X plan when he gets like promoted out of something fun. But he got paid, man. And I am curious.
He's been doing that lately, right?
They have.
Like Megyn Kelly, remember she got like $63 million to leave.
Oh yeah.
And
there are a lot of people that get paid to leave.
Yeah, they get those. They get rid of them though. And you know, sometimes it's just better to just pay them off and get them out. And then the conversation has to stop too. You know, Chris Harrison hasn't been out talking about it. Megyn Kelly couldn't go out and talk about it. You know, so you shut them down with money. And there was a movie, Superfly. It was a remake of the original. And one of the characters in the movie said the money always works. And so, you know, money always works.
That's right.
So, you know, we saw that in this week also with Bill Cosby getting out of prison, which was just one of the most insane things that I've seen, because why, he's rich. So, you know, the money works. So
he's got good attorneys, but it's fascinating when you see something like that because of the way the plea deal worked. They set up a plea deal so that there could be a civil suit. And, you know, so it was fascinating, you know, how you do that. So, I mean, from a technical standpoint, you can see how treachery, the law isn't always about what's right or wrong or what's fair.
You got that right.
And I think we see that. But I tell you, you know, the whole thing, that's a very painful thing. And where you feel like, you know, it's so long and so hard for people to speak up on issues like that. And then this is the meta message. And however you can kind of legally spin it, at the end of the day, you know, there are folks who don't feel as if a perpetrator, and I think based on what we saw, I mean, technicality, he did it, you know, he got off on a very lenient way considering the level of harm and pain that he caused these people for a long time.
Yeah.
And you know, love is humor, but at the end of the day, you can do 100 good things. You can make a difference in thousands of lives, but if you do one thing that is really bad, that could define you forever. And you know, you have to think about that, because in those actions we hurt someone, and that kind of
lots of someone's and documented 57 someone's.
And those incidents, when that happens, it puts people down a road in some ways that you have no idea about. It causes such pain and issues. And, you know, again, just an awful situation. Just awful.
And, I mean, the final thing I saw this week, well, we got a little more time. We're a little over. But Tabitha Brown versus Wendy Williams. If you haven't heard about this, it is one of Wendy Williams, you know, is the talk show host, and she frequently has, you know, her hot topics, and she talks about people and, you know, lends her nasty takes on things. And so she went after Tabitha Brown, who is a vegan food blogger, but she's Auntie Tab. She's like beloved in the you know, Twitter and Instagram, and she's got a really beautiful message, just a sweetheart of a beautiful spirit person, right? And so Wendy Williams went in on her because she told her husband, Tabitha told her husband, on an Instagram post that he could retire as a police officer because now they've come to the level of success to where he could quit his job as a police officer and go pursue his dream as a nonprofit helping kids. And isn't that a wonderful thing to do? Wendy Williams then decided to get on her show and tell Tabitha Brown that she was stupid for doing it. It was these guys, they just leave you afterwards. Now, Wendy's husband famously had an affair, had a baby on her, ran around on her for years, was like, had a sexual harassment suit for stuff that he was doing on the show. And so it was a terrible breakup. And she's still bitter and angry, right? And so Tabitha Brown in the Instagram post gave the most beautiful takedown that was full of respect and caring and love, but was savage. And so if you have a chance to see it, it's all over the internet. It probably broke the internet, as they say. Go and look at it because, for one, it's a masterful way to address somebody who's out there being vicious and hateful towards you, but in a loving, concerned way. Yeah. Because as she says, you know, who hurt you so much that you have to say something like this? And, you know, at the core of it is hurt people hurt people. And so I thought it was one of the best things I saw. It made me look back and go, woo, I wish I was one that good with words, but two, that compassionate towards someone who mistreated me. Yeah. So we can all learn from Tabitha. And so as we wrap it up here tonight, David, you got anything you want to let the people leave with?
I do, Pam, and I just tell all of our viewers out there, we want you to have a safe and wonderful 4th of July. Celebrate this great nation with your friends and family. Honor those who help keep us free and continue that. Wave those flags, and let's all work together to continue to make this a more perfect union all together. Bless you all, and happy 4th, everybody.
Yeah. And as the great Tabitha Brown says, have a wonderful week, but if you can't, don't mess up anybody else's. So we will see you next week on PJamma Live. Happy 4th. Take care. Bye.